they said that the sacraments basically gave the graces to live this type of Sermon on the Mount lifestyle. And I pursued it for a year and a half. How can I have these graces without the sacraments? Until I think God just had me cornered the fall of 2009, when I was probably in the darkest season of my life, and I realized I prayed for these graces, and I guess I've gotten some, but I need them more. And so basically the Sermon on the Mount led me to the sacraments, and I discovered them more fuller in the Church Fathers. And I kid you not, after I started to partake of the sacraments, pursuing the Sermon on the Mount has been so much easier, Marcus. It's really supernatural. The more that I receive the sacraments, the Sermon on the Mount is becoming easier and more doable and more attainable.
Yeah, something that I didn't see as a Protestant, and it may become because of my Calvinistic training, was I had a presumption that we could not sin. Okay, because of our depravity. The idea of being perfect this side of heaven was an impossibility. But we were thinking through categories in which we do it on our own. And we cannot not sin on our own. But Mary is our model because she did not sin because of her will. It's because of the grace of Christ. And she was full of grace. Yeah. So she's our model of what it's about. We honor Mary because she lived in obedience, but aided by grace. And that's our calling. You know, that wonderful passage in Romans 7, that whole chapter, which I'm sure it never applied to you. In other words, where Paul says, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't do it. What's going wrong with me? I got sin that dwells within me. I can't. I know what I'm supposed to do. I can't do it. Well, in Romans 8, he basically says, it's by the Spirit that gives us the power to do. Not us. It's the Spirit. And that's what Jesus is telling his people. Even those Jews that were in his audience before the death and resurrection, he's saying, with the help of God, you can live obediently. But they did need a Savior. I mean, so there's the graces that come from his salvation, which we have not, which they were not just. There were people in the Old Testament who were given graces. David, we know, did, and he failed. Solomon was given graces, failed. Keith was given graces, though you never fail, right, Keith?
Oh, I failed all the time.
We do fail.
Yeah.
And so we pick ourselves up, and it says in 1 John, if he who confesses his sin, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. It's a work of grace. Once again.